us. On Sundays, the side entrance opens at 8:15 a.m. and the front entrance opens at 9:45 a.m. Do join us this Wednesday at 6:30 a.m. as we step, shifting toward everybody praying, and in-house as well as virtual Word Explosion, Wednesdays beginning at 6:45 p.m. Spread the word. Greater is here on Heaven 106.7 FM every Sunday at 9 a.m. Sunday school is every Sunday at 9 a.m., both in-house and virtual. To join virtual Sunday school, log on to houseofgreater.org/GSS now and click the Sunday school link. Congratulations to our senior pastor, Dr. T. Delbert Robinson, on his appointment as the General Overseer of the General Assembly of the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship International. The music ministry will be selling House of Greater t-shirts in the lobby. You can also pre-purchase your copy of their devotional, The Sound of Prayer. We're praying NOLA Praying every Monday from 6 until 6:15 Central Standard Time. We come together virtually to bombard heaven on behalf of the city of New Orleans. To join us in prayer and get the new Zoom link, sign up at bit.ly/NOLA Praying. And join us for the 30th anniversary of Live Full Gospel International Conference, July 5th through the 7th, 2023, at the Gaylord National Resort and Convention Center, National Harbor, Maryland. Registration is now open. Register today at fullgospelconference.org. We're asking every member, especially those who are not attending the Full Gospel International Conference, to do a 30 for 30, $30 for the 30th anniversary. Sow your seed of $30 Sunday, April 30th, 2023. Go No. It's a city and community project for New Orleans East. Earn as you clean. Male 16 years of age and older. This one's for you. And for more information, go to keepnolaclean.com. Sponsored by D.B. Morton Ministries. Have you moved? Telephone number changed? Update your contact information today at houseofgreater.org/GSS now. Quick links. If you would like a copy of your contribution statement, be sure to email nshelby@gssmin.org. We are praying for members who have lost loved ones or who are experiencing an illness. For funeral updates and a list of members who are sick and shut in, call the church or refer to the bulletin on the GSS website. For pertinent information and updates regarding our ministry, simply text GSS to 504-276-7021 or log on to houseofgreater.org/GSS now.
Welcome to Greater Life, Life lessons intended for everyone, where we are encouraging lifelong learners to navigate the seas of our changing society with the Word of God as our compass. Lifelong learners, click, share, and grab a seat as we set sail on an engaging session.
Welcome to Greater Life. We honor Pastor Rob, First Lady J, Bishop, and Pastor D. Jesus said in Luke 14:28, which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Joining us tonight to help ensure we have sufficient enough to complete it is, as it relates to debt-free education for college, is scholarship expert and college admissions coach. Please welcome Sister Shawn Hall. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Thank you. So, this is a very important topic, and we spoke ahead of time. And I know that not only are you an expert in this field, but you're also living it every day as you have school age children yourself. So, you're maneuvering through this. So, help us. How and where do we get started with this?
All right. So, how we get started first, we want to get started as early as possible. And I know parents think that senior year is when it all goes down. But what I tell my clients is if you're waiting until senior year, you waited too late.
Right.
Believe it or not, you can get scholarships as early as kindergarten. Now, are you going to take that money and go immediately to college with it? Absolutely not. But you start as early as kindergarten. If you're hearing this for the first time and you've got kinder age children, that's the time to start. But move immediately towards scholarship searches, finding out what your children are interested in. You may not know their major, but you know that they like to get on the computer. You know that they like to code. You know they like to draw. These are the things that you can get money for. So start as early as you can. That's where we want to start.
Oh, that's awesome. So, let's talk about whose responsibility it is. Now, I know we've got parents, guardians, school counselors. So, once we figure out how and where to get started, who takes the ball rolling on this process?
I love that you asked that because it's not a pass off. As a mother of four, I know what it is to be busy. You're responsible for being a wife, your mom, you're an employee or a business owner. But parenting is not something that you pass off, and scholarships is a part of parenting. So while you have the school counselors and you have the teachers, hear me say this, parents, this is on you unequivocally, without the shadow of a doubt. The national average in terms of guidance counselors to students, it's 432 students per every guidance counselor.
Wow.
432. And the amount of time that a guidance counselor is going to spend with your child in high school is approximately 32 minutes. That's 8 minutes a year. So if you're thinking that your guidance counselor is laying out this great plan for your kid, surprise, that is not the case. It's on mom and dad to say, okay, we know that we don't have money for school. Share that early. We don't have it. There's no shame in that. Let your kids know that the skin in the game that they need to have is getting those good grades. And good can be relative. So good for me as a scholarship admissions coach, and I've seen a lot of scholarship applications, is a 375 and up. Now, if you don't have the 375 and up, then you want to make sure that you've added in there volunteer and community service hours. You start building that as early as possible. It only counts 9th through 12th grade, technically 9th through 11th grade. But once you get in the mode of Girl Scouts, going to church and being in the choir, being in the band, whatever it is that you're doing, do it with regularity and make sure that you're keeping up with that, because no one else is going to keep track of this like mom, dad, and the child. So this is solely on the parents. Everyone else is extra.
Awesome. So let's talk about do's and don'ts. How do we balance the two there to make sure we're staying on the right track? Now that we know we have the responsibility, parents got to take charge. What are some of the do's and don'ts?
Okay, so the first thing we do, we get a strategy. Where is it that Johnny or Susie, generic names, right? Where do they want to go to college? And you may not know right off early on, as you're planning your vacations, make sure that you are taking your child to the colleges and universities so they get used to seeing a college campus. Hey, if you can't go and you're tight on a dollar, got this great thing called the internet, which will allow you to do on-campus visits. It's not the same as boots on the ground, but at least it gives you something. So let's start there. Then the next thing you want to make sure that you're doing is you're keeping up with this. Learn to write, y'all. Bible says that you got to write the vision and make it plain so those that read it can run.
That's right.
The people who are reading it, it's your child. It's you. What's the vision that you have for your child? Write down every single school that you're visiting. What did you like? What don't you like? What would you like to see more of? What is it that you need to get to this school? Whether it's GPA, whether it's finances, whether it's going to be track that will get them there, or their great oratorical skills, you've got to make sure that you're staying organized. And the best way to do that is by using, for me, Google Apps, making sure that I put it in a shared drive that we all can see this information at any time. I can pull it up. The next thing you want to do, make sure you're getting organized with your activities. So many times I ask my clients, tell me your brag sheet, which is what you've done 9th through 12th grade. Okay. And they're like, right, because you can't remember. I'm asking you to go back to 9th grade. You don't have to go back. Old school, I would have told you get a notebook, right? But now everything is on the computer or on those great things called phones, right? Yes. They're more than Instagram opportunities and TikTok.
Always in your hand.
Always in your hand. Write down every activity and how many service hours. Why am I saying that? Because there are scholarships that are going to want more than just the academics. They're going to want to know, what have you done community service wise and how many hours for that? Those are the dues that you want to get started with. And definitely keep looking for the money. Yes. People always say money doesn't grow on trees. And I push back on that because it does. You just have to know what forest. Right? You've got to be in the right forest. Money does grow on trees. Yeah. Every single day, there's a scholarship that's due or that has opened up. Every single day, 365 days a year. There's more money out there than people could possibly think of. And I'm not talking about if you're right-handed, if your hair is red. We're not talking about that. We're talking about scholarships that perhaps you get from your church, scholarships that come from your job, scholarships that come from fraternities and sororities that you don't have to be a part of, but you live in a specific service area. That's how you get started, and you start looking as soon as you possibly can and then plug it in. Even if the scholarship is not due this year and you've passed the deadline, you go ahead and look at what the criteria says so that you know what they're looking for and you can write towards that.
That's excellent. Right? Oh, that's excellent. So let's talk about if we don't have the ideal GPA. We know GPA weighs a lot when it comes to these incentive opportunities. How do we overcome that? We know some students may not have that 4.0, that 3.75. How do we still maintain this journey while dealing with a GPA that may be less than ideal?
There are plenty of students that I know who have gone to school on full rides and they've not had a 3.0 or better GPA. How did they do it? They were active. Community service matters. It matters. The next phenomenon that is coming on, I would say within the last 2 or 3 years, especially during COVID, is what we're doing now, having this conversation virtually. Students are always doing a TikTok. Get comfortable talking about yourself in front of the camera. More and more scholarships are moving towards a video essay. So they want you to tell them about who you are. They already know your name. Leave that out. But what don't they know? If you've had a traumatic experience, if you are a Black girl and you play the ukulele, people want to know those fun, quirky things that make up who you are. So get used to talking in front of a camera. Those are ways that you can find scholarship opportunities and make them work for you. Something that people don't talk a lot about now that we have the ability to go to any college or university is still making sure that you apply to our historically Black colleges and universities. That's part of the reason I'm here today. I know Pastor Jory Miller. She's my Bennett sister. Bennett is a historically Black college in Greensboro, North Carolina. Many of us leave those schools out because somehow we have heard that they're less than. But what you have to know is 50% of all doctors in this country graduated from a historically Black college or university. 75% of all Black judges graduated from an HBCU. So we're very much still relevant. And these companies and corporations have locked into HBCUs and they give money there. So if you're attending an HBCU or thinking about it and saying that school doesn't have money, you're right. That school might not have enough institutional money to give you, but there are outside entities that will give you money if you're attending an HBCU. So that's how you overcome some of the challenges of not having a 3.0, making sure that you're active, making sure you're chronicling that, making sure you're doing community service, and making sure that you're unturning every single stone possible.
Thank you so much. Listen, you are a wealth of knowledge. This has been an incredible amount of information. We wish we had more time, but thank you, Shawn Hall, for sharing with us. If you all have any questions, please email her at greaterlife@gssmen.org. We'll make sure she gets your questions. Don't go anywhere. Word Explosion is up next under the direction of our senior pastor, Dr. T. Delbert Robinson.